Today's topic is flexibility. Now, that might seem like an unusual topic, right? Because isn't yoga all about flexibility? Well, not necessarily. I'm Andrea Trank, and I am a trained, gentle somatic yoga teacher. And I can tell you that a lot of people think yoga is just about flexibility. Yoga is about balancing strength and flexibility, sthira and sukha, strength and ease. So what I'd like for you to think about is if you are too flexible or stretchy already, you might want to focus on strength. However, many of us are stiff and have lost our natural range of motion, especially as we age, and therefore increasing our range of motion and getting rid of chronic tension will allow you to feel more flexible, which will allow more ease in your daily living. So the practice today is going to involve a series of gentle somatic yoga routines, which are slightly different than the typical flexibility routines you may have seen before. We do not hold stretches in gentle somatic yoga, and the reason we don't is it can create actually what we call a recoiling effect. Your body will tense up to protect itself, and we don't want to do that. So we move in very safe, nourishing ways, never holding a stretch more than 3 seconds at a time. The other unusual thing about gentle somatic yoga is we contract the muscle before we release it. And that gives a signal to the brain that it's safe to release. So come and join me on the mat and let me know if you like this kind of routine. We're going to start in any comfortable seated position just to get ourselves grounded and present and ready to learn. If you feel safe to do so, go ahead and close your eyes. So check in. Check in to notice any parts of your body that are not feeling very flexible today. And those are usually parts of the body that you might have a previous injury. Do not judge it, just check in and take note. And hopefully at the end when we check in, you'll feel some differences in the way you are feeling. So begin by raising arms up to the sky on an inhale and then drawing down on an exhale. Lift the chin up when you raise your arms up to the sky. Lower the chin down when you let it go. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Now, whenever you need to in this little seated routine, go ahead and change the cross of your legs, or you don't necessarily have to sit cross-legged. The other thing you might want to do is put some supports underneath your thighs so that you don't feel like you're having to lean back so far. We want our pelvis to be tilted slightly forward. So we're going to draw rainbows in the sky. So imagine your fingers are like paintbrushes. Now the reason we're doing this instead of just the typical lean over to the side is when we are trying to develop flexibility in parts of our body, particularly around the joints, we want to make sure we can move it in all the different directions. So instead of just going here and here, we're going to go forward. We're going to go maybe at a different angle. We're going to go back. And if there's any spots that feel particularly tight, pause there for a minute. I'm tight here. I'm going to pause and I'm going to contract all the muscles. And then I'm going to purposely release the muscles and let it go down. Let's go ahead and do the other side. So make sure that you are moving in many different vectors and you're checking in to see which ones feel good and which ones don't feel very flexible. Again, back here like this, it's tight. So I'm going to contract the muscle briefly and then completely mindfully soften it and let it go. So let's go ahead and move both arms in sort of this organic fashion and see how they're feeling. Doing some organic movement from time to time, just noticing what feels good in your body can help get rid of long-held tensions, which will lead to more flexibility. So place your knees up in the sky and the feet on the ground, and take your hands and first put them around your legs like this. We're going to check in and see how flexible our neck is at the beginning and then at the end of this next little routine. So I want you to look up without strain or pain and pick a spot on the ceiling that you can see which is not straining or hurting your neck. Okay, I've got my spot. Now remove the hands from your legs, take them and turn them away from you behind your body. Place them behind. You don't have to sit up straight and tall. You can sit comfortably. So we're going to take one leg and go out about 6 inches, come up onto the heel and bend the toes forward. Release the toes, flatten the foot, and slide that foot back. We'll do this 2 more times. I'll turn sideways to give you another view of this. So I'm just kind of leaning comfortably back on my hands. I'm letting the leg go out a little bit, coming up to the ball of the foot, curling the toes down, releasing the toes, flattening the foot, and drawing the foot back, and now curl the toes towards your nose. So now my toes are going up. Do that 2 more times. Slide the foot out, up to the heel, curl the toes forward. Release, flatten the foot, slide the foot back, lift the toes towards your nose. Last time, slide the foot out, up on the heel, curl toes forward, release, flatten foot, slide foot back, lift toes, and let's check to see our range of motion. I'm going to have to turn back to face you to look for the same spot. So put your hands back around your knees and look up. Oh my goodness, my neck is completely released. That's how you develop flexibility, by releasing chronically held tension in the body, not by overstretching. When you overstretch, you become like a rubber band that's been stretched out and no longer has its elasticity. Let's go ahead and do the other foot. Hands behind the back, facing away. Go ahead and draw the foot out about 6 to 8 inches. Come up onto the heel. Curl the toes down. Release the toes, flatten the foot, slide the foot back, and lift the toes. Do that 2 more times. Go forward, up on heel, curl the toes. Let the toes go, put the foot down, slide it back, and lift the toes. Last time, forward, up on heel, curl the toes, release them, flatten the foot, slide it back, and lift the toes. Let's go ahead and place our hands around our legs again and look up again and see, whoa, my neck is completely released. So that's the aim. The aim is to have more comfort, not necessarily to be like a pretzel, right? So the next one we're going to do is called swimming shoulders. And that's going to get a little more flexibility in our shoulders. So I'm going to demonstrate first sitting up, and then we can do it also lying on our belly. So sitting up, you would have your hands as if they're pressing against a wall. And in fact, you could do this against a wall. And then I want you to maneuver the shoulder in an ellipse, which is not quite in the circle, it's more of an oval. Just maneuver the shoulder. You're trying to isolate the muscles of the shoulder instead of letting all the other muscles get involved. Let's go ahead and go backward. So I'm going to demonstrate this on the belly again. And you would lay on your belly, and then your face would be just sort of loosely facing the ground, or you could hold it up a little. Your hands are by your chest, and all you're doing is making like little bicycle ellipses on the shoulders, and then you're going back. And let's take a rest and lay your head on your arms. Lift your legs up and allow them to swing side to side. So we love to have our spine being flexible. It needs to be both strong and flexible. And cat-cow, done in the gentle somatic yoga way, is a great way to accomplish that. So come onto hands and knees, and first I'd like for you to adjust the position of your hands so that it feels comfortable. If you can't find a comfortable position like this because of wrists, you could make fists, or you could even do seated cat-cows if cat-cows like this don't work for you. On the inhale, I want you to engage the back body. Feel the muscles engage and just soften the front body. That's where you're developing flexibility in the front. You're developing strength in the back. Come through neutral. Here's the contrast. Your brain needs to see contrast to release muscles. Now, draw the belly in, so you're engaging the front body, you're stretching or lengthening the back body, and drop the chin down. Come back through neutral. So going slowly like this, rather than just swinging through, is a much more mindful way of doing this and really works both the strength and the flexibility. Now I'm going to offer you an alternative which feels very good for people who have sciatica. So the next time you drop your belly and engage the back body, go ahead and drop the chin. This is called nerve flossing. Very good for flexibility in a safe way. Come back through neutral. Next time you draw the belly up, lift the chin. Back through neutral. Drop belly, drop chin on the inhale. Through neutral, lift belly, lift chin, through neutral. Now widen your knees, and if you need a cushion under your ankles, find something to cushion under the ankles, and very slowly push back to child's pose. The slower you go with these movements, the more your brain will not resist and say, I've got to tense up because I feel this is unsafe. Take your time and breathe. How are you feeling? All right. We're going to make our way onto our backs to do some things to create a little more spaciousness or flexibility in our hips and a little bit in our hamstrings, which tend to get very tight, and possibly our quads, although the quads are a little tricky to get without a strap for many of us. So move things out of your way and come make your way onto your back. Okay. Now let's start with, again, a check-in. Check-ins are really good to do for many, many reasons. For one thing, a check-in will allow you to sense what's going on in your body and allow you to connect the brain and the muscles and everything together. And that helps us develop flexibility in a safe way. So most of the time when we are working our hips, we think of flexibility as just being how far out they go. But really, the hips have 21 muscles. So if we're going to keep the hips supple and flexible and have some ease there, we've got to work the hips in a variety of different directions. So here's one way to do this. With the knees bent, the feet on the ground, widen your feet a little bit apart from each other. We're going to work one leg at a time. Lay your arms comfortably by your sides. Allow the knee of the one leg to drop in. Now don't go into pain. You might feel that a little more in the back of the hip. If that's causing too much pain or too much torque on the knee, then have the feet be further away from your body. So the knee goes in, comes back up to standing into the air, and then you let the knee drop out. So we are doing both internal rotation, neutral, and external rotation, and neutral. So just notice how this feels. What way feels better? And are you more flexible one direction and not the other? So let's try the other leg. So this leg is now still. Drop the knee inward first and just notice that. Notice where you're feeling that. Don't go into pain. Come to pointing up in the ceiling and then let your knee drop out. Back to pointing up in the ceiling. Knee drops in and up, and knee drops out and up. So now let's draw our knees and feet together. Allow the knees to drop open and just notice how that feels. Now with some muscular effort, this is a contraction, I want you to draw your knees together as if something is squeezing them together. And then with a little bit of effort, I want you to bring them apart as if something is resisting. Resist, 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 and then just let your legs go open. Bring them back together with resistance and do this again. Resist, 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 and open. Now let's lengthen our legs completely out and see how our hips are feeling. We have one more thing we can do for hip flexibility. And this time you're going to imagine that you're doing tree pose, but you're doing it on the ground. So my left leg is going to be my standing tree. My right leg I'm just going to let fall off to the side loosely. Then dragging the foot gently up the leg. On the outer edge of the foot, my knee is out to the side. Then I'm going to use muscles to draw my knee up to the sky. Then I'm going to allow the knee to gently cross over my body. So now you should be on the inside of the foot. You're in a little bit of a twist and slide the foot back to the first position. Let's do that 2 more times. Let knee fall off to side. Let your leg come up in a tree pose. Draw knee up to sky. Let knee fall over body. Now drag it gently down on the inside of the foot and release. Last time for this leg. Let knee fall out. Bring leg in so you're in tree pose. Draw the knee up to the sky. Allow the knee to cross your body. You're now internally rotated, and let it come down. Let's notice the difference between the leg we just did and the one we haven't done. Mine feels longer. So when you increase your range of motion and have more ease, you are lengthening the muscles, and that's what we want. Well, we want them to be restored to our natural place where they should have been without all the chronic tension we face. So now let your other leg fall off to the side. This is now your standing leg. For me, it's my right leg. I'm dragging the foot up the inside of my leg as if I'm doing a tree pose. I'm now drawing the knee up to the sky, allowing the knee to cross over the other leg. So now I'm on the inside of the foot, and then going back to my starting position and releasing tension. Second time, go up with the knee out, draw the knee up to the sky, allow the knee to cross over your body and slide the foot back down on the inside of the foot. Release. Last time. Let foot fall out, knee goes out, tree pose, knee to sky. Let knee cross over body. Let the foot drag down, and let's just see how we're feeling. Shake everything out. Notice, how do your hips feel? Well, there's one more way we have to quickly move our hips, but this will also get a little bit into our hamstrings and into our quads a little bit. So draw one knee into the chest. The other leg can be completely straight, or you can bend it up. And when you draw that leg up to the sky, I want you to point the toes, not flex them. And then when you drop the foot down and the calf down, I want you to flex here. So when you go up, you point, and when you come down, you flex. This is a safer way of gaining some range of motion in the legs without causing some pain in the low back. Last time on this leg. Let's do the other leg. Grab behind the knees. When you draw the leg up, point the toes. When you bend the knee, flex the toes. Draw it up and point, and bend and flex. Last time, up and point, and bend and flex. Let's go ahead and lay both legs down beside each other and see how they're feeling. You might shake things out and just gently turn your head side to side and see how it's feeling. I'm hoping as you check in that you have a lot more ease of movement in your body, because that's really what we're aiming for.